back at it now. Katie just asked me if I was on Air Force One. I was. Katie Heid joining me now from Michigan News Source. Katie, nice to see you on a Monday. I had this on my desk. Here it is. It's the napkin that says aboard the presidential aircraft. I have a couple of them.
I'd be jealous if I didn't like you so much.
Well, there you go. There you go. And after I spilled my food on the carpet, anyhow, it's a long story. Yeah, they feed you well on Air Force One, and I stood out in the rain with Donald Trump, and it was interesting in the rain after we got back from Pittsburgh. So yeah, it was good stuff. Speaking of Donald Trump, he made a comment here recently that he would look at pardoning the people involved with, I'm still going to use the term, the alleged kidnapping plot against Governor Whitmer, because look, as Donald Trump said, they said some stupid things while they were drunk and drinking this. Was there ever really a plan to go kidnap Governor Whitmer? It doesn't, to me, it's never passed the stink test. And anyhow, she seems upset about this. It's one of the lead articles here. What can you tell me about it?
I think you get to the point of what has been this back and forth over her kidnapping plot. You used the word alleged. These gentlemen obviously went through a court proceeding and received their prison sentence that way. But so you have a couple of different things, and I call it which came first, the chicken or the egg theory, right? Do you have these men who got together in a group and legitimately planned to kidnap and kill the governor of Michigan and overthrow our government, and the FBI just happened to be there to prevent it? Or were these guys just getting together, venting, pounding their chest, being idiots, whatever you want to call it, and the FBI entrapped them and kind of led them on this? So this is why it has been controversial in Michigan for 5 years since this happened. And then Donald Trump last week said, I'm going to look into it. His words were, it looked a little bit like a railroad job when it came to these two ringleaders of this. And then over the weekend, Whitmer said that really surprised her, and she was going to get in touch with President Trump to say, you promised me, her words, you promised me that you wouldn't pardon them. Now you're saying this. We need to talk. She says that there's no place for political violence.
That's what look, if the FBI played fast and loose with the facts here, I mean, it's only fair. Look, as an American citizen, I just want to know if these guys are guilty, as they were found. I think 9 were convicted, 5 were acquitted, if the numbers, I think that's right.
14 total were involved in this entire thing.
Right, and these two, Barry Croft and Adam Fox, are serving 20 and 16 years respectively as the alleged leaders of this plot. I'm not sure these two could lead an attack on an ice cream shop. You know, I mean, let's be honest, these are not smart people. These are just, doofuses. I don't know how. I mean, they're just doofuses. And they got caught up in this whole deal, and do they deserve 20 years in prison? Seems a bit much to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like I think they're more of a threat to themselves than anything else. That's the way I look at it.
That's what some of these attorneys have argued, that this would not have happened if the FBI hadn't entrapped them. And then there are other people saying that they would have carried this out. Maybe they would have bungled it, but they would have carried it out and the governor was in danger. So there's really two different things going on here. I will bring up, Steve, that the Governor Whitmer has said there's no place for political violence. She said she was one of the first ones on the Democratic side to condemn the attempted assassination of Trump in Butler last summer. But she also has 8645 hanging out there. This comes from a 2020 interview on Meet the Press, where
that's correct.
In the background she had the numbers 8645, which 86 is slang for kill or nix or knock off or whatever have you, and 45 was for President Trump. So you can condemn political violence. No one in their right mind is saying political violence has a place. It does not. But she also has that, and the Department of Justice, as they look into Comey, which, again, Steve, I'm not sure why Comey is still under investigation for old Seashell Gate, but she's also possibly being looked at for that. What constitutes political violence? Is it explicitly saying things, or is it having something in the background and alluding to it?
Right. I mean, exactly. Where do you look? I'm a free speech guy, so even if it's distasteful, I don't know what she meant by that. I think she meant like get rid of him. I don't know if she meant kill him, but yeah, that's all of the same stuff. Meanwhile, by the way, one other quick story here. Garland Gilchrist, who's running for governor, he's the lieutenant governor, says it's time to fill the 35th Senate district seat. This is one of the stories on your site as well, because it's been empty for months, right? The Senate seat in Michigan.
Yes, Garland Gilchrist is our lieutenant governor and has been for 8 years, really kind of on the sidelines. And now that he's running for governor, he's making statements and coming out against his boss. So the 35th Senate seat was vacated by Kristen McDonald-Rivet, who was elected to Congress last November. She took office in January and left this open Senate seat. And there's been nothing from the governor. In the state of Michigan, the governor has to call a special election. I would argue we need to do some look at the legislative level to have a law where if you have an empty seat for whatever reason, somebody else runs for office, there's an unfortunate death, whatever happened, that it automatically triggers a special election so that the people of Michigan are not held hostage by a governor on one side of the aisle or the other.
I think that's a good idea. Go on.
Yes, Gilchrist has said, look, if they've been out, Bay, Midland, Saginaw counties, that area has been without representation in the Michigan Senate for now, if my math's correct, about 150 days. She needs to call a special election. The thing is, it's very tight between Republicans and Democrats, including the number there in the Senate. And so I think there might be something in the back of her mind. What if this flips Republican and stagnates everything with the Michigan House being Republican now? What do? We want to make sure we have the Democratic stronghold.
Yeah.
So Gilchrist has come out against his boss and said, call this
As
election.
he should. Look, they all want to talk about free and fair elections and every vote must count, blah, blah, blah. No votes are counting in that district currently. None.
Well, no
you can find out more at
taxation
Michigan
without
News Source.
representation.
Correct. MichiganNewsSource.com, MichiganNewsSource.com. Katie Heid and her band of reporters and journalists will keep you up to speed on what's happening in Michigan. As always, they do it better than anybody else. Katie, thank you.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it. MichiganNewsSource.com. If you want real news from real reporters without their thumb on the scale, MichiganNewsSource.com is the place for you to go. After the break, former Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley will be with me about the jobs report upcoming.